Hello dear students. In this video lecture, we will see few of the code provisions for design of compression members. First one is the effective length of compression member according to clause 7.2 page number 35 and also table number 11 of page number 45. So before looking into the effective length of the compression member, we should know what exactly the actual length of the compression member. There is a relationship between actual length and effective length. The actual length of a compression member is nothing but the center to center distance of the compression member between the restrained ends. However, the effective length is arrived from the actual length. Usually the effective length is a length which is calculated from the actual length of the member considering the rotational and relative translational end conditions which are given in table number 11 of page number 45. So that particular table is shown here. You can get this, please note down this table number, table 11 page 45 and also clause 7.2 page number 35, very important. You can go through the code and you can get into this. So this clause 7.2 is for the effective length of the compression member. So 7.2.1 says the explanation for effective length along with 7.2.2 page number 35. I will not go into the depth because we have already given the definition for actual length and effective length already. Now we will quickly look into the uh, table number 11 of page number 45. So this is table number 11 of page number 45 for class 7.2.2. So depending on various boundary conditions, so here you can see one end is fixed, the other end is free. Okay, so here you can see two edges or two ends are hinged. What is the effective length? So if you have one end fixed, other end is free, it is 2 times of L or 2 times of effective length. That is nothing but the effective length here. Then another one is two ends are hinged. Here it is 1 times the sorry, 1 times the actual length. Then next one is one end is fixed, the other end is roller. You can take it as 1.2 times the L as effective length. Similarly, one end is fixed, other end is hinged. You can get it as 0.8 times L. If you have both the ends as fixed, then you can take it as 0.65 times L. So these are given in the table number 11, which will be utilized to calculate the effective length. Further, effective length will be utilized for calculation of the slenderness ratios. Okay, so now next we will see, these are already covered, the buckling class of cross sections. Various buckling classes which are given in the class number say the table number 10 of page number 44 of IS 800-2007, like buckling class A, B, C and D are given. Buckling classes A, B, C and D are given. We will see them. See, I will go to table 10, page number 44. So this is the table number 10, page number 44. So here various types of sections they have given, like rolled steel I sections, welded I section. Then they have also given hollow section, welded box sections and channel, angle, T section, solid section or built up member. So they have also given the limits. So depending upon these limits, we have the buckling classes like A, B, C. Then also buckling class D is also there depending on various limits. So when we take up few problems, we will consider these buckling classes also. Okay, so you have to remember that to choose a suitable buckling class, you have to look into the table 10 of page number 44 of IS 800-2007. Next we will see the slenderness ratio. So slenderness ratio definition we have already seen. The slenderness ratio is nothing but the ratio of effective length to the corresponding radius of gyration of the section is nothing but the slenderness ratio. So you can also refer clause number 3.8 of page number 20. I will go to page number 20 and let us see what they have given for slenderness ratio. Yeah, so here we have clause number 3.8 for slenderness ratio. So usually the slenderness ratio lambda is given by KL divided by R, where KL is nothing but the effective length and R is nothing but the appropriate radius of gyration of the section. So the maximum effective slenderness ratio values are given in table number 3. So for various types of members, these are the maximum effective slenderness ratios they have given. So usually in the case of competitive exams, these values will be asked. They will give some member corresponding maximum effective slenderness ratio value you have to write. Okay, so if you want to cross check with any maximum slenderness ratio values, you have to refer table number 3, which is given in page number 20. You have to note down this one also. Now why slenderness ratio is very important? So usually the strength of the compression member decreases as its length increases. Further, usually, the compressive strength of a very slender member may be much less than its tensile strength. Also, the decrease in the strength is usually due to the lack of straightness or some accidental eccentricities of loading or development of few residual stresses, or also because of the variation of material properties over the cross section. So whenever you go for very long or very lengthy compression member, the material property may change. Okay, so it is very difficult to maintain the same material property throughout the length or throughout the height of the compression member. So that is why the slenderness ratio is very important. The next one, let us see the design strength of columns. So here the design strength of the columns are usually computed depending on clause 7.1, 7.2, 7.1.2, 7.1.2.1, 7.1.2.2 and table number 7, and also figure number 8 of page number 34 and 35 of IS 800-2007. Let us go to page number 34 and 35 and let us have a glance. So here in the case of page number 34, we have the design strength of the column, which is given in the uh, clause number 7.1. So here especially we will get a few of the formula. You can go through that and we will discuss all these formula in the coming video lecture. Especially the concepts remaining here are the design compressive strength of the columns or compression members, design compressive stresses, then types of section for compression member. So all these things we will look in the coming video lecture. Thank you.